And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition here of the PondCast episode number 103, your weekly dose of all things StarCraft. I'm, of course, Joseph VIP, with him joined by, of course, Kura, handling the production side of things, and my lovely people in the chat as well. Welcome, one and all, to our weekly wrap-up show of all things StarCraft and StarCraft adjacent news. Let's go. There's plenty of news to get into, and also tournament results as well. Let's jump into our first piece of news here, and that is DNS. Once again, DNS, he has released another SC2 Who Wants to Be a Millionaire episode. He's already done an episode with Clem, with Uwu Thermal, and now he's done an episode yesterday with Cyril. So we do have the Cyril edition here. And once again, shout out to DNS for exploring a new avenue of content with StarCraft, and creating this kind of like game show here for the players. It does remind me a lot of like SC2 Jeopardy, which used to be a big thing back in the day with like Zerg Girl and with like Pili Pili and like all these other streamers back then. I feel like that was like a big part of the community that has now kind of been gone. So not quite Jeopardy, but Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, or Who Wants to Earn Minerals even. I appreciate the concept. I do think it's a lot of fun. They did revamp the edition, this edition a little bit here. Basically, the contestant now has a life, so if they ever get one wrong, then they get to like redo it and basically have another question asked, essentially. So that is something new that was added to this. So it's 50-50, phone a friend, and also use up a life, essentially. So Cyril, he did step into the hot seat here to be questioned about his knowledge about esports and StarCraft 2, and honestly, it was pretty easy. Like, I say that there were a couple of questions which were a little bit tricky. Specifically, there were like a couple of like technical, like a lot of it was historical questions, right? A lot of it was like, who won this tournament? I think a really fun one actually was a question asking like which of these Korean players doesn't have the name Lee in their name, like the word Lee in their name. That was a fun one, for example. Obviously it was Dark, Park Young-woo. Like, I mean, I feel like because of the Dark copy pasta, as soon as Dark was an option, it's like we know his name, okay? Like we scream his name all the time back when it comes to the copy pasta. So that was an easier one. There were some other historical ones, which I only know like tidbits about because they're just known things about the players. Like, who's known for having who's known for using their left hand. It was like Snoot, Tilo, Lil Bao, or Naniwa. I feel like Naniwa is notoriously known for being left-handed. So like there's like I feel like all of these questions, especially if you've been in the scene for quite some time, like you would know. There were a couple that were some trip ups here that I wasn't 100% aware of. I think one of them I didn't realize was one of the questions was who's the youngest player. And Cyril, he also didn't really know, but he knew like Neeb's age, and they're like, oh, it's like my age, like it's probably Neeb. I didn't realize that Cyril was a baby. Oh my god, I didn't. Ay. So there were a couple of questions like that, but yeah, it was a lot of fun for sure. For those who are curious, the phone a friend was Skillis Nikita. He was called up, and he did get the question correct. Of course, he was there for his boy, and of course, did get the check was in the PayPal, was in the mail for Skillis, for Nikita, for showing up for Cyril. I will say that I guess quote unquote kind of spoilers. I do recommend watching it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun seeing these kind of videos here. So I do recommend it with Cyril. I will say that the end of it, it felt like we were a little bit robbed. Cyril just kind of let it go, so it's whatever. But basically, the way that the episode ended, we did not get to the final question. Was Cyril, he was kind of like talking through the question and talking through the answer, and he arrived to the correct answer, by the way, but he just said the wrong thing. Where I don't mind saying this. The question was, which of these countries has never won a Nation Wars event? And it was like in his mind, he was like going through each of the countries, and he was just thinking about some of the past Nation Wars, and he was like, you know what, Norway, I think they did win a Nation Wars with Snoot and Targa. Like I think they did win. I think because he was comparing two different countries, and he was like, so you know what, Norway, yeah, they won one. They won one. Yeah, Norway. That's the answer. But the question was which country never won a Nation Wars. So it was like, yeah, Norway won. Yeah, the answer is Norway. And so he said Norway. And then DNS is like, are you sure you want to look Norway in? And so I was like, yeah. And then he's like, okay, well, you're wrong. it's and so I was like, what? But no, yeah, they won. It's like, yeah, they won. That wasn't the question. It's like, so it was just it was legit just like a misunderstanding of what the question, or just not even just a misunderstanding, but like we Cyril got a little bit confused while he was thinking about it as to what he was trying to figure out and what the answer was, and so he knew what the answer was. He just answered the wrong thing because it was answering the wrong question, and then it just ended. It's like I feel like you just give that to Cyril, right? Like if he like if he understood the question and the answer and he said the thing, except he was just answering the wrong thing. It's like, yeah, so it's like it felt a little bit weird to end the show with that as the finale. Cyril didn't care. He was like, oh, whatever. He was like, you know what, just sometimes that's how it goes, right? I guess I should have been paying more attention. It's a classic Cyril move. He was like, I should have done better. I should have just paid a little bit more attention to the question that was asked, and we just moved on. But it's a bit of a shame. I feel like that's a little bit on the host for DS to make sure that the contestant is fully aware as to what they are answering. So I would have just given that to Cyril because he knew the answer and he was just answering the wrong question. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame. So it's a little bit of a bittersweet end, or just a bitter end to the episode, and we don't get to see some of the other harder questions down the line because again Cyril didn't quite get there. But overall, it was still a fun episode. It was still a lot of fun. I would hope that maybe DNS does rethink his role as a host for future episodes, though, in regards to how this kind of ended. But otherwise, to be a little bit more lenient, if the contestant clearly knows the answer, but they just misunderstand the question, then I feel like it's not on the contestant necessarily, So it's just, yeah. But regardless, with that, I still do recommend it. It's still a lot of fun. Still a lot of fun to put on in the background, especially if you're to test your own knowledge, of course, to test your own StarCraft knowledge and your esports history knowledge, or even just to learn. Right? There's a lot of people that got into StarCraft during the COVID era, and a lot of these questions were pre-COVID era. They were covering like 2016, 2017, 2012, even era of StarCraft. Even questions from back then. So yeah, definitely. You can test yourself or even just learn a little bit more about the history of StarCraft through a video like this. So I do recommend it. Was a lot of fun. Do check it out. And I look forward to seeing who else they bring on. What I will say is that obviously bigger names get more views, but so I understand that DNS would go for, Clem and Cyril and Thermal. It'd be nice if he did go to some of the other maybe even lesser known players, but I understand that at the end of the day, DNS, he's making content, he wants the views, so if we ever see someone else, I can see him going for like Loco or like Winter or like Wardy or some of these old Rotterdam, right, or some of these other bigger names, but it'd be nice if he expanded the roster a little bit. But I also understand as well that like he puts a lot of work into constructing every question as well, right? Like, so yeah, it's I'm sure a lot of work gets put into constructing the question pool and then building this up. So we'll see who comes on next, whether it's going to be another player or a personality. We shall see. But shout out to DNS for, of course, making set content. Up next, we just spoke about him. We just spoke about Neeb, how he was a part of one of the questions asked earlier during Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. But now we have a recent announcement by Onside. This was announced earlier today, actually, or I guess yesterday, depending on where you are in the world. But we do have an announcement from Onside that Neeb is returning as a pro player. Now, if you recall, this is something that we were speculating during the big events, the big kind of Legends events in China, in Wuhan. During the big Doyo Cup. If you recall, why there was a lot of speculation about this is because it was announced that Neeb would be joining Onside. And at the time, I was making sure that it was known that it's like, hey, he joined Onside, but it's not uncommon for players to join a team just for an event, right? Just for one event. And there's a high chance that that's happening here as well. And I definitely felt validated in me saying that because Neeb has not been active in Open Cups or in other tournaments at all. Like he's not been active since then. But we just got an update from Onside themselves that no, Neeb intends on returning to the game. We've still yet to have seen him playing anything outside of Doyo Cup, so so we don't really know kind of the level of play that he's at, but it does sound like he is interested in continuing to compete in some way, shape, or form. I would imagine part-time. I would imagine that he's, probably pursuing. I know that he was doing some studies in Korea, but at this point, I'm sure he's pursuing a further career. But it looks like he's maybe interested in playing some StarCraft again in some capacity. In what capacity, we still don't know. Like, it's still very ambiguous as to how much effort he's putting in, how much time he's putting in, and how active he's going to be, whether he plays in as many open cups as he can, or just in a specific few, or in some invitationals. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Neeb, but regardless, I do think it's a good thing to see him return. It's always a great thing to see some older legend players in their own way return to the game in some capacity. So we'll yet to see kind of the level of play that he's at, and again, the commitment that he's going to be putting back into StarCraft. But exciting nonetheless. Really cool to hear Neeb has returned. Again, in what capacity? Yet to be determined. Yet to be determined. So really cool to see that Neeb does intend on returning here to the game. Speaking of returning to the game, we have someone that is going to be leaving the game. So it was also announced here, we were already made aware of this previously, but earlier this week, Chickenman did announce publicly that he was going to be retiring from streaming and from casting and running tournaments. So this did coincide with the most recent KSL over the weekend, the Korean StarCraft League. It is definitely a big shame. Chickenman, he's a great guy. He's a good friend as well. We've even casted together on this channel. Not too much, but there were a couple of events that we were like, hey, we're both covering the event. Let's jump on and cast together. It was always a lot of fun. So much love to Chickenman, of course. For those that are curious, Chickenman, his IRL career is just taking up a lot of his time. He's been quite busy, and he only, over the past couple of months actually, he basically only ever goes live for KSL. And KSL is a monthly tournament nowadays. It's not a weekly, it's a monthly. So again, Chickenman would only go live once a month, and he was expressing on stream that, hey, he didn't really want to, he doesn't like the idea of, being in this space but only being live once a month sort of thing. Like, he wants to be, if he's going to be in StarCraft, he wants to be more active than just, showing up once a month, because he feels like he's out of the meta, out of the loop, and he feels very disconnected, and it feels weird to go live and cast when he's not really as ingrained in StarCraft as he used to be, and just because he can't, right? He can't necessarily, just because he doesn't have the time for that sort of thing anymore. And he doesn't want to half-ass it, right? Doesn't want to half-ass it. So again, it is a big shame, and he's done a lot for the scene, a lot for the community, but he is going to be stepping away from streaming in general. He may show up when it comes to like an SC for All or an SC2 Safe House, for example. Like, those are things that he might show up for, but outside of that, like, his personal stream won't necessarily be live as regular as it used to be in years past. What I should also mention as well is when, in regards to KSL, I did notice this over on Reddit, and I'm hoping that no one in the chat believe this in any capacity. But when it comes to the KSL obviously is going to be continuing. I think this tweet, the announcement of Chickenman retiring, was posted to Reddit saying that Chickenman was retiring and KSL was ending. And I don't know how someone came to that conclusion. And it's a shame, because like, he got a lot of upvotes and people just believed that and spoke about and started like speaking on that. That is not the case at all. So just a lot of misinformation was being spread about that, and KSL, there's no intention to stop it at the moment. Thankfully, Dave actually made a post 2 days ago. It's a shame that he needed to, but he did make a post about that also on Reddit, being like, hey, like, KSL's still going on. we're looking at maybe changing the format and changing some things, but we still plan on keeping it going. So it's a little bit.
I think part of why there was the confusion might have been because people associate KSL with Chickenman mostly. Like, they maybe some of them were not aware that there was more than one organizer involved.
Maybe, but I mean, they were wrong in that assumption. So
no, yeah, they were. I'm just saying maybe that's where the confusion stems from.
Yeah. It's, people might just be uninformed to begin with, and then make certain like extrapolations from that. So it's a bit of a shame that happened, but it is important that we do make it clear that KSL is still continuing. Dave Testa alongside Chickenman, they're the two that did create KSL together, and Dave Tessa intends on continuing the KSL as well, and it will be continuing in some kind of capacity. As we mentioned, he is very much so open to changing the format and maybe changing some things. What will come of the KSL still yet to be determined, but I know that Dave Tessa is looking at maybe taking some feedback, some suggestions, and maybe switching some things up a little bit. And again, that post was made over on Reddit, so do bear that in mind. Up next, we do have the Big Sky. The Big Sky Festival number 8.0 has been announced, has been officially announced here. Once again, it is crowdfunded by the previous Big Sky Festival. Usually they have these like big stretch goals, and they do typically, once they reach a certain threshold, they do set aside some of the prize money or some of the funding that they do raise during the event for the next Big Sky Festival. So far it is going to be 6,000 USD. That's a lot of money, of course, in this event. And the crowdfunding is going to become available once the event does begin as well. There are going to be some qualifiers. We have qualifiers set for the next upcoming weeks, I believe. Just quickly double checking. But the main event is scheduled to begin in August the 13th, and qualifiers are scheduled for August the 2nd. So next week. Or actually, I say next week, really, this week, towards the end of the week here, we will have set qualifiers for the main event. So we are going to have those qualifiers. They're going to be available. Again, 2 qualifiers going to be available, and likewise, we then have invited players. I would imagine that the invites are going to be related to the previous events, but I mean, it's going to be at Pig's discretion, of course. Likewise, this again will be taking place over the course of August. There's going to be a group stage into the playoff bracket as well. Something that I find quite fun, actually, which I do think is a really nice thing to add to the qualifier, is that apparently qualifiers top 4 qualify, and then there's going to be an FFA to determine seeding, which I think is a really fun way to make the qualifier more interesting. To be honest, when it comes to a lot of these qualifiers, they're quite short, especially when there are a lot of slots available. It's really, really short broadcasts, like an hour, 2 hours at most, like an hour and a half on average, just because like you get 2 rounds, maybe cover both qualifying spots, and that's it. We experienced that as well with the RSL. And we've casted the Big Sky qualifiers before, actually, on this channel. So usually the qualifiers, they don't really make for a good broadcast, to be honest. So for Pig to make an event out of it, and for and to add like an FFA at the very end with all the qualified players, it's a really fun way to make an event out of the qualifier, and to make it a little bit more fun and engaging, and to involve, you know, the rest of the scene as well. I like it. It's a nice little twist to things, and I appreciate maybe being a little bit more experimental with some of the formats here. So looking forward to the FFA and to the qualifier itself. Whether we cover the qualifier, we've done so in the past, but you know, we'll see. I don't think we did. I think we did the qualifier for like Pigsty number 6. Don't think we did it for number 7. But we'll see. We might reach out at some point. When it comes to the invited players, sorry, I did miss this. We already have the 8 invites. We have 2 Protoss, 2 Terran, and 4 Zerg. We have Hero, Showtime. That is the wrong hero, by the way. That is why is that a capital H? We gotta. Well, we have Hero, we have Showtime, Bjorn, Maru, Raynor, Serral, Shin, and Solar. So 4 Zerg, 2 Terran, 2 Protoss, and then we'll be, of course, getting 8 more players from the qualifiers. Here we go. So do look forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Up next, of course, we do have the announcements of not just Big Sky Festival, but also Into the Inu, the Into the TVX Soup SC2 League. That is a mouthful for sure. It's the weekly/monthly tournament, basically the ISSL, Into the Inu Soup StarCraft League. Hi, papi. The ISSL, there you go. The ISSL has been announced. It is going to be a somewhat weekly tournament. There's going to be 4 weeks. There's going to be 4 weeks of open cups leading into a monthly finals, inviting all the top players from the weeklies. It is a collaboration here from Into the Inu with Soup. This does mean that the broadcast is going to be exclusive to Soup. We've seen events like this, like GSL CK and GSL Proper. So live coverage is going to be exclusive to Soup. We might be able to cover it via replays on other platforms, but because we already do live stream on Soup anyway, there's a very, very high chance that we just cover this live. We just cast this live, and then we rebroadcast it later, maybe a day later, 12 hours later, on Twitch and YouTube instead. I still have to clarify this. I've been speaking to Inu and I still need to iron out some of the details, but we're going to do one or two things. Either we'll just cast it via replays, or we'll cast it live and then rebroadcast the VOD to Twitch and YouTube after the fact, after live casting it on Soup. But it is going to be exclusive to the Soup platform. Again, we do have a hefty prize pool as well, and really cool to see Into the Clan and Inu investing and devoting a little bit more here to StarCraft and working with Soup as well. Obviously, for international viewers and international fans, it is a little bit of a shame just because I understand that it can be really frustrating, or you have to go that extra step and extra mile to make your way over to Soup and to watch on Soup and to even use like a VPN at times to like make Soup a little bit more stable. Definitely have to jump through some hoops depending on where you are in the world, for sure. But again, when we do cover it, we'll be at least having like a rebroadcast or a replay cast on the other channels at some point. So you'll get the content eventually. You get it eventually. More StarCraft is always a good thing. Always, Pappy, always. So yes, there is going to be an upcoming weekly/monthly on the horizon starting August the 7th. That'll be next week on Friday. Meanwhile, up next, we do have some news here regarding the SEL. I think we already mentioned this last time, but if not, we'll just talk about it again. I think we did discuss it during our previous coverage of SEL as a whole. But SEL is going to be going on a hiatus for the rest of July and August. Again, I think we already spoke about this last week, but regardless, we'll speak about it again. Hyper One, he is at the moment fixated and focusing on his IRL responsibilities, his IRL career. I think he's been speaking about just having less time available for running StarCraft Evolution. Yeah, I remember. I think we spoke about this. I think we spoke about this during one of the patch update discussions on StarCraft Evo, because I think Hyper One alluded to it a little bit there in his tirades that he goes on. But yeah, he's at the moment he just doesn't really have the time to necessarily devote. Oh no, I remember. We spoke about this when he announced that that he was going to be discontinuing code like C, B, and A. Remember that? Like that was like maybe 2-3 weeks ago, where he announced that he was going to discontinue like the other divisions of the SEL League. Yeah. So that's what I was confusing with.
Like
Yeah.
But he like mentioned it again like later with
yeah
various contexts.
Well, I mean, now he's re-mentioning it, but yeah. So Hype One, he's already alluded to not having the time to devote to things and to devote to StarCraft Evolution. I think at the time we brought up the fact that unfortunately, it's one of those things where I do think that it's important when you do dedicate yourself to something like SEVO, to anything, to any kind of passion, especially after working it for quite some time. Ideally, you want to build up like a foundational group of people that can help you achieve said goals. Like I mean, maybe I'm speaking from a position of privilege where we have the CranKy Ducklings, and we've been doing our best to like work together to cast, to run tournaments, and to do all this stuff as a collaborative effort. But at the time when he discontinued the other divisions, he was speaking about how like he doesn't have time to to port maps over and to run all these different leagues and divisions, all this stuff, and it's one of those things where I do think that when you're taking on a project as big as this, I do think it is quite important to find some like-minded and passionate individuals to be able to work together, just so you can kind of like spread this work around and share the load and be able to run something like this. It's so difficult taking all of this on yourself. And again, we spoke about this when he shut down the other divisions, and now we're kind of getting it here as well when it comes to SEL as a whole.
I remember he specifically mentioned that he was hoping that more like unrelated tournament organizers would rise up, like organizing tournaments for Evo, but that just never happened.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of did, but I mean, we spoke about this a little bit when it came to the history of StarCraft 2 and it being like kind of cut at the knees in regards to its Korean release and what happened in the Korean scene. Here it's kind of it's echoing some of that with SEL and StarCraft Evolution and these mods kind of starting to rise up, and then bam, we had the arcade issue, right, where the arcade got shut down for months, right, for months, and that did hinder like the growth of mods and the arcade and modded tournaments in general for quite some time. Obviously now we're past that, but that was like a really big thing that stopped SC Boy, right? SC Boy, they were running tournaments on StarCraft Evolution for a bit, and things like the arcade breaking did kind of stop that from happening, where they just kind of like stepped away, and it did really like hinder the growth of a lot of these other mods. So it is a shame that happened. Trying to recover from that, of course, is a difficult thing to do. Trying to regrow your base and regrow the interest in your mod once again, it's not an easy task whatsoever. Especially when trying to do everything yourself, especially. With that, everyone is going to be on, or ISSL is going to be going on a bit of a hiatus for a couple of months, and it should be returning after that, I would imagine. I know that I know that they already wrapped up, of course, their ladder invitational, but there's still like the Codus League that's on the horizon that we're expecting to return like post Crank Gathers. That's the expectation, at least. Whether those expectations are met, yet to be seen, yet to be determined, in regards to StarCraft Evolution. Regardless, of course, we're going to be, bringing you as much Crank Gathers content as we can, as always. With that, we have our tournaments. With that, we have our tournament results as well. Coming into this, we have the RSL. The RSL, the Rival StarCraft League Season 6. This event, of course, the playoffs did begin over the weekend. Over the weekend, playoffs did begin, and we had a lot of mirror matchups. A lot of mirror matchups. And the trend of RSL broadcasts being like less than 2 hours long continues. I want to very quickly emphasize this point as well, that it continues. It always irks me, and I don't want to call people out too much, but it always does irk me whenever a new patch hits and people associate that with the new patch. What I mean by that, there were a couple of people saying this, whether it's on Reddit, whether it's even in our own Twitch channel and YouTube channel, being like, the RSL playoff matches were like hyper aggressive and really short games and really fast series because it's a new patch. When, if you have been watching and if you remember, RSL Season 5 and Season 4 and Season 3, RSL playoffs are notorious for being very short and notorious for being hyper aggressive and hyper all in. This has been a trend. This has been a bit of a meme. That's actually why, if you remember, why the meme even began, that I would call out State for never saying the word all in, even though the RSL playoffs were full of all ins. So it's just everyone was all in all the time, non-stop hyper aggression, and just because all ins would pop up and they just wouldn't say it, like that's why that would become so much more prevalent, because it was just so pervasive throughout the entire playoffs of RSL. That was always the case when it comes to just the meta of StarCraft right now. So that's obviously that's the case here as well. There were some people that were like speaking up and being like, it's because this new patch. No, not at all. This is a trend from even pre-patch as well. When it comes to mirror matchups, when it comes to a lot of these matchups in general. So at the moment, TVT, ZVZ, and PvP are hyper aggressive. There's a lot of aggression, a lot of all-ins. You have 10 pools abound, you have proxy gateways, you have 2.2 base all-ins, proxy Raxes. Like right now, there's a lot of aggression. A lot of this is just transferring over from the previous meta as well. And because of the unique custom map pool in RSL, a lot of the new maps, or just because of the map pool itself, it is hyper aggressive. Just quickly discussing the map pool for the RSL, they don't just have your aggressive maps like Rorschach, but they also have Voidstorm. Voidstorm is also in the map pool as well. They have Voidstorm, they have Rorschach, they have Fear and Faith in the Old Sun Temple, which do have an RNG factor where they have close spawns. They're also hyper aggressive as well. They have Ruby Rock, which is also known for aggression. Like there's just a lot of aggressive maps in the RSL map pool, and that just kind of it just compounds on itself here, where the meta is aggressive, then you have a more custom aggressive map pool as well, and you're just getting a bunch of all-ins and really short games. So it's all like just coming together here, and really really short broadcast days, which we're used to when it comes to RSL. It isn't just because RSL is known for cheese and aggression. It's that, but also in combination with the fact that RSL they only broadcast 2 series a day, which in the current meta is not enough for a full broadcast. Like it's like two best of 5s a day. That's nothing, papi. That we go through that real fast and real quick. So yeah, they just have a few amount of matches per broadcast day. Plus,
I would say though, the thing is that the RSL days are short by design. Like they themselves said that they wanted the short broadcast so people will have easier time catching up on them if they are like busy with like working or something. But it does make for very short streams.
Yes, yes. I think the last stream was like an hour and a half or something. Like it was really, really short broadcast days. Ah, so yeah, with that, the other record quarterfinals to conclude, we had Clem. Clem takes down Beyond 3-0. Again, hyper aggression. A lot of all-ins, except for Game 3. I want to say Game 3 did survive the early game aggression, and we had a bit of a mid-game setup on game number 3. What I will say, talking about this series, though, is that the trend has now also continued in regards to Clem returning for TVTs. Clem, he did begin playing Terran in TVT once again, starting on the hotfix patch. So it's been like 2 weeks. I think it's been like 2 weeks now, but Clem is now no longer playing Protoss against Terran. He hasn't been asked this directly yet, but obviously my assumption here is that he does not like the way that new Protoss feels and new Protoss works in regards to the warp gate changes. So because Protoss is very different now, he's just avoiding Protoss and just purely focusing on TVT again, with some mixed results. For sure, it's definitely been mixed here, and we'll be getting into some of Clem's other results in open tournaments. But for those that are curious, he has not played TVT in a year and a half. It's been a very, very long time since he's played TVT, but recently returned to playing TVT after the new Protoss changes, just as a heads up. With that, Serral takes down Shin 3-0. Once again, we had a lot of intensity here. I should also emphasize that the results, I mean, again, it also irks me when it comes to like Reddit and people speaking on this. But surprisingly, I mean, not surprisingly, unsurprisingly, there's always a bunch of opinionated people that speak on these games that have not watched them, so they just make some assumptions. A lot of these games are actually really close and really intense. Serral versus Shin is a good example of that, where there was a lot of scouting, a lot of misdirection, and a lot of like back and forth interplay between Serral and Shin. The results don't tell the full story. I do recommend watching the games because all of these matches, all these specific games were much closer than it otherwise seems. I think the only exception is Game 3. I think Game 3 between Serral and Shin was much more one-sided. Like Game 1 and Game 2 were a lot more back and forth. On top of that, Serral, he was also going for his own aggression and his own all-ins. This is something that we try to make clear to the audience whenever we do cover Serral's ZVZ. But many years ago, I say many, like 2-ish years ago, Serral, he used to struggle quite heavily in ZVZ. That was his weakest matchup, but that changed after Serral, he was being dominated by Solar and WTL for quite some time. But Serral, what he stopped doing was being defensive, and he stopped reacting. He stopped only reacting and being defensive. He himself started cheesing, going for early pulls, and being aggressive himself, and you saw that in this series as well, where Serral, he was not just scouting, reacting, and defending against Shin, he was also being aggressive in his own way, and even punishing Shin for Shin's greed at times as well, where Shin would be greedy, and Serral would all-in him. So I know that people like making certain conclusions that don't watch the games, but Serral was also cheesing, was also all-inning. Serral, he's also known for getting down and dirty in ZVZ as well. Same with Showtime. He's another example of that, where Showtime, he has a older reputation of being very defensive, but that is a reputation from years ago. If you watch Showtime nowadays, he also cheeses, he also all-ins. Same with Serral as well. Oh. But here we go. So yeah, Serral, he takes down Shin 3-0. We had Hero versus Solar. This is another context matters so much. Oh god, I do enjoy States. Like I do enjoy States. I think he's a really good caster. Same with Sturgeon as well. But during Hero versus Solar, if you remember, we didn't cast KSL this week live. We casted it via replays after the fact. We didn't cast it live because Crank Gathers was going on at the time, and we focused on Crank Gathers, so we missed KSL. And States, he was casting Hero versus Solar, and he said something leading into it, and I just took him at his word. He was like, oh, like right now, like PvZ is in a really rough place. Like I've been seeing a lot of Void Ray, a lot of Sky Toss. But that Hero, he beat Solar in KSL earlier today, because it happened the same day. He beat him earlier today, and Hero, who's showing a bunch of different unique builds, and it was really inspiring, because it showed me that like maybe we can see some other things outside of just Sky Toss right now. And I was like, oh cool, yeah, that's Hero. Like he's known for having a variety of builds, and he has been playing a lot of Sky Toss recently, but he does make sense of all-ins. Just looking at his word, we casted the KSL replays a couple of days ago. Hero was playing Void Ray and Sky Toss. Like he was doing the opposite of what State said he was doing. I was like, what? I was like, what was State watching? Like I have to call it out because I just took him at his word when we were co-streaming the RSL over the weekend. But after casting the games like yesterday, I'm like, that could not have been further from the truth. Like, what is happening? So here in KSL, he was playing Void Ray, he was playing Skytoss, that is what he was playing, of course. Here, when it comes to his series with Solar, he did mix it up. I will, of course, run it back here. He did mix it up. We saw a lot of charge all-ins, a lot of different charge variated all-ins, and we saw some Void Ray Skytoss as well. We did see a mixture of the two, and here did take down Solar, of course. But yeah, I feel like I need to emphasize that because because I feel like State mischaracterized the hell out of the KSL finals, and I feel like I need to bring that up here and now after casting them myself. So yeah, yeah. Just, you know what? Just watch the games yourself, Pappy. Just that's at times. Meanwhile, Rogue. Then we had Rogue versus Lambo. Rogue versus Lambo 3-0. Once again, we had some very clutch games, very close games, very back and forth, of course. Rogue did take down Lambo. I really appreciated the builds that Lambo showcased here as well. We had some very unique. It's always the case with Rogue and Lambo. We had some very unique builds, very fun styles. Did go in Rogue's favor. Once again, was very intense. I do recommend checking them out if you enjoy mirror matchups. If you can enjoy the nuance of mirror matchups, because there is always nuance here, then I do recommend it. And if you're a little bit afraid of like old school slow TVT, you know, siege line versus siege line, if you're not a fan of like slow old school like Roach versus Roach and ZVZ, that has not been the case. That has not been the meta for many years. These TVTs and ZVZs were again very aggressive, very high octane, a lot of fun. Do recommend checking them out. As Clem and Cyril, as they will be facing off in the upper bracket semis, Hero and Rogue will also be facing off in the upper bracket semifinals as well over the weekend in the next couple of days. And we'll be there to cover it via co-stream. We'll be there. He's watching the game from an alternate universe. I just, you know what? Just watch the games, Fab. Just watch the games. That's all we ask whenever you try to make strong comments about them. Watch the games, Fab. To the people watching as well, I mean. But yeah, with that, I still do recommend checking them out over the weekends. Over the weekend, of course, is going to be day 3 and 4 of the RSL with the upper bracket semis and lower bracket matches as well. We still have a couple of mirror matchups, but now this is where we have the heavy hitters facing off: Clem versus Cyril, Hero versus Rogue. It's going to be a very intense tournament, and I do highly recommend it, especially because RSL has been dominated by Protoss, right? This is season 6. Who won the first 5 seasons? Nothing but Protoss. We've had pure Protoss champions in RSL, and now that there's only one Protoss in the playoffs, we finally may have a Zerg or Terran champion. We might have a non-Protoss. Part of me, even though like I'm a Zerg player myself, part of me wants Hero to win just for the narrative, just to keep the streak going and have non-stop Protoss champions in RSL. But at the same time, like, I feel like we got to, especially in the current iteration of the game, I feel like Cyril is coming in as the heavy favorite, of course. And Hero has been mixing in a lot of really cheeky and very cute builds, but has been heavily reliant on catching his opponent off guard. And I don't know how reliable that is here. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Part of me is cheering for Hero to just win it all again. But now that Cyril's getting involved here, it's going to be a tougher event for sure. We'll see. We'll see. Up next, we have the Wardy TV, the Wardy TV Summer Cup 2026. We once again do have our summer edition. Playoffs did conclude. I think last time we had the PondCast, we already featured Group A and B. I think Group C might have been ongoing at the time. But now they wrapped up. Group C is Cure, Cristiano, Zan, and Mixu. Cure and Cristiano made it through. Big win here. I know that Cure has been hearing me say this, but Cristiano recently, I think we saw it in Home Story Cup, right? I think it was also Home Story Cup. But Cristiano, he has been popping off. Like, he's been getting some surprising results, specifically in PvP. And you see it here. Cristiano, he 2-0 Zan. Cristiano, in the new hyper-aggressive form of PvP, Cristiano has been having a good time. He's been finding some success. So he takes down Zan 2-0, does fall to Cure, but does come out in second place out of Group C. Very impressive result here by Cristiano. Group D, we had Bjorn, Rogue, Hero, and Mana. And here, Hero struggles. He takes down Mana. He takes down Bjorn. Hero falls to Rogue, actually, and it comes down to a technicality here. Hold on, so Bjorn, Rogue, and Hero were all tied. They were all tied. Hero beat Bjorn, lost to Rogue. Rogue beat Hero, lost to Bjorn. Bjorn beats he beat Rogue, lost to Hero. So we did have a very, very close couple of games here. But unfortunately, Hero, when he beat Bjorn, did drop a map. So because Hero didn't 2-0, he doesn't have the map score to make it through, and Bjorn and Rogue advance on instead. But a really close group. That was the group of death, 100%. So really close there. But again, Hero did drop a map more than he should have. That means that Bjorn and Rogue advance on. They do advance on over Hero. So with that, we have our top 8. We have our top 8 players: Solar, Young Yakov, Shin, Percival, Kira, Christiana, Bjorn, and Rogue. So we do have our top 8 players, and they're going to be playing off starting in 3 days' time. I'm sure that the playoff bracket will soon be announced and soon be seeded. That'll be over on Wardy's channel. Do wish him the best. When it comes to the event itself, it's hard to really predict when we don't actually have the playoff group seeded. Coming into the playoffs, ooh, who do we favor here? I think Rogue. I think like I'm looking at it's almost like we got a lot of Zergs. We got a lot of Zerg players, and I feel like there's a high chance the finals is going to be a ZVZ. I can see Rogue beating out Shin and Solar in a ZVZ. At the same time, I know that Cure has been looking very impressive against Zerg, but it's also been very hit and miss. I know that Cure underperformed in RSL. Like, people were very, very upset with Cure's performance in RSL. I'm aware of that, at least, and I would agree. Like, Cure, he can be very hit and miss. If he's locked in, like Cure, he can take to anyone here, but he's got to look in. He's got to look in. Otherwise, I think I lean towards Rogue here, but we'll see. If Kira's locked in, I can see him winning. Otherwise, I feel like Rogue probably has the edge in the ZVZs, but it is ZVZ. Anything can happen. So wish the best of luck to all the players. To all the top players here. That leads us into the CranKy Season 4 playoffs. Here we go. This is a StarCraft Evolution tournament featuring the top teams in StarCraft Evolution. We did cover Day 1 and Day 2 of the playoffs. Day 1 was CRHB versus Stony Bulls. CRHB, that's a team of Classic, Solar, Hero, and Shin. And Stony Bulls, they did really surprisingly well during the group stage. They did make it through the groups, but they will not advance on in the playoffs. CRHB, they're taken down 4-2. Hero takes down Milky Cow 2-0. We had Young Yakov take down Solar 2-0. So we did have a back and forth initially. Hero and Young Yakov, they knock each other out 1-1. And then we have Shin, clean house. Shin takes down Zardian 2-0, and Shin takes down Young Yakov 1-0 as well. So we do have CRHB advancing on over Stony Bulls. Meanwhile, the up-bracket finals, we had Onside versus Team Liquid. Onside, coming into this event, I was favoring Team Liquid for sure, especially with Cure being on the team. But there's only so much Cure can do. Curie 2-0'd down, and then Ryung, the TVT sniper, he takes down Cure. They take each other out 1-1. Then Maru could go to town. Maru, he 2-0's Clem, he 2-0's the laser, and then it went all the way to the ace match. And I'll be honest, I thought that Cure was going to come out. I was convinced. I was like, okay, it's going to be a TVT, Maru versus Cure. But they didn't send out Cure. They sent out a laser. I was very surprised.
It was not an ace match.
All right, sorry. The revive. I meant to say the revive match. That was a revive match. So for the revive match, I was convinced that they were going to revive Cure and send him out against Maru, but they didn't revive Cure. They revived a laser instead, and with that, Maru takes down a laser, and on site they do claim the win. So yeah, I was very, very surprised that they didn't revive Cure. It's possible they might have been saving him for the ace match and thinking further ahead, but they had a lot of confidence in the laser there, if that's the case. A lot of confidence in the laser, if that was the case here. So I was very shocked to see Cure not revived, and Maru does take down the laser.
I would say that Crank also had a lot of fun with this pick, because I remember he was casting with Shin at the time, and he was like, I could not understand a word they were saying, but just by like the visual cues, he was like, "Who do you think it's gonna be? Is it gonna be Clem? Wrong. Is it gonna be Cure? Also wrong." He just like went through the entire list of players until he went to the laser.
Yeah, it's crazy. Also, this event also kind of confirms my theory, and I guess I'll say the theory because we don't really know for certain. But if you notice something, even though Clem has been playing a lot of TVT as of late, Clem did play Protoss in this event when he was playing SE2. He played Protoss against Maru. So this further confirms to me that Clem, it looks to me like Clem, he's only recently playing TVT because he doesn't like Protoss on the new patch, but he still likes it on the old patch. And bearing in mind that StarCraft Evolution does feature the older version of SE2 with the previous worker count start. So this kind of like goes in line with that Clem is still willing to play Protoss with that worker change and with the gateway change as well reverted. So that kind of like goes in line with that kind of thought process, at least. Just as a bit of a tidbit there, just because Clem did play Protoss against Maru in SC Evo. But with that, we do have our 3 remaining teams. We have Onside waiting in the grand finals, waiting for the winner of Team Liquid and CRHB. Again, this will be played tomorrow, over the weekend. So starting tomorrow and over the weekend, we of course are going to be covering it ourselves in English on our own channel as well. So do check it out. That leads us into the Galaxy Open Cup 5.0.15, number 4. Speaking of the old patch, this event is run on the older iteration of the game, and it's been getting a little bit of attention. Just a little bit. It's mainly being covered and mainly being featured by some of the more like semi-pro Koreans. So I think like Rebellion, 3Point, Honmono, Silver BV, Luna C as well. Last edition, last week, Byun was the champion. This week, it's Classic. And I would say the issue here is that, and I don't know who Captain Han is, by the way. I don't know if that's someone else's ID. I mean, for Captain Han to take down Luna C and Nicorette, like, I feel like that's got to be a notable player. Just going under a different ID, right? Hold on. I'm curious. He's on Team Hyper 1.
Yeah,
is that Homeowner?
Yeah, it's not. It's a separate player, and we've been seeing him for a while as well.
Have we been seeing him for a while? Is that Homeowner?
I mean, he's like, I would say he's like below semi-pro level. Like but he's been around. I've seen his name before.
Did he play in our tournament?
He might have. He might have. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he might have.
Sparkling Student Cup 83. Let's have a look here. Hold on. I'm doing some investigation.
Live on stream.
Yes. No, yeah, he played in Tuna Cup back in March. So it's been a while. That was the last tournament he really played in was Tuna Cup back in March. So he's not a very active player, but he's popped up every now and then, and he is on Team Hyper 1. Okay. It's on Team Hyper 1. And yeah, he's got my attention. Okay, he's got my attention here. Did take down Nicorette, did take down Luna C, did fall to Classic. But what I was getting at is that for the last event, Byun was the highest rated player, and he just kind of 2-0'd and 3-0'd his way to the win. Here it's same with Classic, where unfortunately these events don't really have the attention from the Korean scene to have multiple top players of this level compete against each other. So far it has kind of been clean sweeps whenever like Byun or Classic show up. I'm hoping that we could maybe see some more attention provided and some more top players show up at the same time. Until then though, again, it's you know, if we get like a Classic or a Shin or a Rogue or a Byun, they usually like clean sweep here. So congratulations, Classic does take the 3-0 win over Captain Han in the finals. GG well played. And even though like it's quite difficult to get people to play this mod, just because right now everyone's practicing on the new version of the game, and obviously more updates and hotfixes are occurring on a regular basis. Regardless, I would hope to see a more competitive player base for an event like this in the future. I would hope, at least. Regardless, congratulations to Classic. Congratulations. That leads us into our amateur events for the week. That leads us into the Amateur League Weekly, number 167. Jesus. First one, of course, is the Initiate Weekly. This is for players that are between the leagues of Bronze and Platinum. And here we have two players, Jackals and Tebs. Two regulars, might I add, and Jackals does take down Tebs 3-1. Congratulations here to Jackals for claiming the win. That leads us into our Veteran Weekly. This is for Diamond 3 to Diamond 2 players. Here, double elimination brackets. We have a lot of regulars here. I see Pretty Fly, I see Balimko, Scorpion as well. I see Rivio, Old Lady. So a lot of regulars here. Pretty Fly does advance on to the grand finals, takes down Balimko 3-0, takes down Splits 2-1, but actually does fall to Split in the grand finals. Split is a player that I don't know. I'm not very familiar with Split. I don't recognized them for these brackets before, but really cool to see a bit of a lesser known player make it through and take down Pretty Fly in those finals. Went to the ace match as well. Went to the ace match, very close between the two players. GG. GG well played. That leads us into the our next edition. That leads us into the Prestige edition. This is Diamond 1 to Masters 2. Here we had some other regulars. I see Defiance, I see Matrix, I see Nux, I see Boreal. I don't know who Jasher D is. That is the player that I'm unfamiliar with. Does take down Nux 2-0, Boreal 2-1, takes down Defiance 2-0, and takes down Matrix 3-1 in the grand finals. So congratulations to Jasher D. I said I don't know them. I should emphasize that they are using a new website, and it's possible that some of these players might be regulars, but they just created an alternate ID for this website specifically. That's another possibility as well, so it's always important to bear that in mind. But regardless, Jasher D does claim the win. GG will play. That leads us into the Elite Edition. This is for Masters 1 to GM and Eon. Oh, I have not seen him sign up for these events before, but Eon does get a walkover win. Like usually I expect like Nickrat, or sometimes even Azura or some of these other guys, but Eon gets a walkover win. GG. GG, well played. Does walk away with a win there. That leads us into Yamato Cup. Yamato Cup number 7. Bearing in mind this is an irregular tournament. It is a bit of an irregular event. I don't know if they said whether this is going to be like a regular monthly or not, but every now and then we get this event. It's organized by Killer Bee Cast on a semi-regular basis. This is for players that are 5k and below. So 5k and below. And we had some interesting lineups here. We had Beast, we had Mantega, we had Kasparos, we had Universe, Ino Color as well. I haven't seen Ino Color around. I mean, I've seen them in recent weeks, but I feel like there's like been a big gap. I remember him being very active a couple of years ago, and only recently is he once again popping up here. So really cool to see Ino Color once again. Beast does take him down 2-1 in the upper bracket finals and 3-2 in the grand finals. GG. GG well played. Congratulations here to Beast for claiming the win. That leads us into the Chat StarCraft League, number 49. This is also an event for amateur players. This is for players that are, I think it's 4.5? No, 4.3. Okay, so 4.3 and below. Sorry, 5.3, I'm going to say. So 5.3k and below. Here we do see Greenert. I believe he's off-racing as Protoss. We have Patches as well. I see Matic. I see Universe. In the end, Marek does take down Universe 3-0 and Greenert 3-0 as well. GG. GG well played. Congratulations to the German Protoss player, Marek, for claiming the win. Congratulations. That leads us into the World University Team League Division 1 finals. I say finals. This was for the, I believe, semifinals. I think the bronze match was played today. It might not be updated on...
You have to log in to see the scores. Which means
Yeah,
they probably not approved correctly and they just don't show.
Yeah, it says pending changes. I say that they were played because, fun fact, we actually raided Winter when he was casting the bronze match. Funnily enough, we raided him yesterday morning. That's it, yesterday morning. I think after we did the KSL cast. Yeah, I think it was after the KSL cast we raided Winter, and he was covering this very event. So yeah. So hopefully we get the updates and confirmed scores soon. But regardless, hold on, I need to log in. I need un momento. But this was casted merely a couple of days ago. But yeah, I would imagine that it was probably updated by people that were watching the stream, and we just need like confirmation of that. But in the end, Harvard they take down South Alberta 4-1, and Beijing IT they take down East China UST 4-2. GG well played. Congratulations here to Beijing IT. That of course is a team with Rewhite and TATP and Millennium Fox, I believe. Sorry, just double checking. But we have those three teams. They're up against East China UST, which was Jolo Loves and Miggy. Oh, okay. So yeah, it was going to be very close between the two of them. I think I was leaning towards Jolo Loves and Miggy. I think I predicted them to take it, but did I predict TATP? Like, it was a hard one to call regardless. In the end, congratulations to Beijing IT for claiming that win, and shout to East China UST for coming in second place. Big shout out. And again, it's really cool to see this event organized as well, organized by the universities, and hopefully we get to see more of these in the future. Hopefully. And also some more detailed results as well. Shaking my head. Up next, we do have the All Things Pro Toss Team League Season 5. It looks like the round-robin group stage has concluded. Maybe. It looks like we still have a couple of matches yet to go, but it's possible that they just weren't updated.
I would say the group stage has progressed, and per your request, people actually added some details. So, hey.
Yeah, some.
And I would, it would be nice if also the weeks actually corresponded with when the matches are played, but hey. One step at a time.
Nah. Yeah, that's too much. That's too much. It's true though. Like usually, only the Canon Council matches are updated, but we have some other updates as well. I would hope that we get all of them. We're still missing like a bunch of information, but regardless, week 5 we have. There is no A in Crimpus. Lovely. But Azura and Rake, they tie 1-1 in their series. Mixu takes down Patches 2-0. Akeron takes down Neo 2-0. Anticore takes down Franz 2-0. And we see Ibiri take down Crimpus 2-0. We're always the ace match with that Azura takes down Mixu 1-0 in that final game. Was that covered by Bomyoja? Oh, it's because it was streamed. Yeah. It's still the same thing. Yeah. Basically, the only series that are getting updated are matches that have been casted. So, yeah. They all have VODs associated. God damn it. Really, it just means we need someone to cast everything. We just need someone. We need a dedicated All Things Pro Toss caster. Bomyoja?
I mean, that's what Gemini used to be, right? So yeah, Bomyoja could take over that mantle if he wants to.
He needs to take over the mantle as the All Things Pro Toss caster. Just saying. I feel like it needs to be someone. I feel like it needs to be someone ingrained in that community, because there are a lot of memes. There's like a lot of like in community jokes as well. Like there's like they're very ingrained with each other, and I feel like we need like Lorimbo. We need that's why we need Lorimbo to step up and cast. Like, that's all I'm saying. We need him to step up and cast, and I think we'd all be better for it.
This is where Lorimbo makes a transition to full-time caster.
Yes. Beautiful. It's what we need. But yeah, with that, so there is no A in Crimpus. They take down Huevos. Thank God. And likewise, Zero Aggression, they take down, I always want to say Karage Chicken. What are they? It's Kraktije Oranji Kickers. Like, I don't understand these memes. I don't know what any of this is. I just don't understand. Oh, God. But congratulations, Zero Aggression. And again, it looks like there's still a couple of matches to go. I don't know if they've already concluded and they already updated the scores or not, but it looks like there's still some matches to go here before we do get into the playoffs. Best of luck. Best of luck to all the teams. And best of luck to all the memes. As that leads us into the StarCraft 2 Community Team League 2026 Spring Edition. Here in this event, it looks like we finally have concluded the regular season. Which I think we did last time, actually, if I'm not mistaken. No, yeah, we did. The playoffs actually. Oh my God, we already wrapped up.
I
They
was
just go through everything in
I
one
was
weekend.
shocked as well when I saw. I thought they're gonna like do like one match at a time, but no, they just did everything.
Yeah, they just look at them go. Oh my god, they're crazy. Spread it out. I would have wanted like maybe
Look,
like 2 rounds a week or something. They did everything
look.
in a weekend.
The group
It's
stage took
crazy.
14 weeks. Okay, the old
Yeah,
men
what's
are
2
so
more?
old. They need like support at this point. Okay.
True. So in the beginning here, Team Little Fairy. Team Little Fairy, they do take down Team Super Puppy 5-0. UD Soldier takes down his opponent 2-0. Ear takes down his opponents alongside Psycho as well. So shout out to, congratulations, Little Fairy. Then we get the reverse. Starlight Twinkle, one of the stronger teams in the league, they take down Little Fairy 5-0. Rewhite takes down his opponent 2-0. Young Zest and Triple H as well. So strong showing here from Starlight Twinkle. We then have Starlight Twinkle that take down Torrent Project 5-2. Bit of a more back and forth. We have Moku and Rewhite tie 1-1. Young Zest takes down his opponent 2-0. We have Triple H and Ghost Runner 1-1 as well. And then Jolowa takes down his opponent 1-0. So congratulations to Starlight Twinkle. Again, I would have pinned them as one of the favorites to win the entire league, but PCEC, oh my god. Who is their starting player? Is that Nanyu? Hold on. So Nanyu, he does take down Jolo Loves 2-0. We then have a tied 1-1 score between Sarah Kerrigan and Rewhite. Then had tied 1-1 score between Smile and Triple H. And then I believe that is Millennium Fox takes down Young Zest 1-0. Very clutch and very close score here. In round 4, we then have Old Man versus PCC. The Old Man, they still got it. Oh my god, they still got it. We have Coffee. Coffee takes down Nanyo. They tie 1-1. Jeshi takes down Sarah Kerrigan. Kingslayer and Smile tie 1-1. We do see Millennium Fox takes down Cyan, but then Coffee takes down Millennium Fox. GG, well played. That leads into the series against Super Kitty. Old Man, they do it again. They do it again here. They take down Super Kitty 5-3. And then we have Old Man versus Elpis Esports. Lemon, of course, the heavy hitter. Once again, I feel like that is the wrong flag. It's happened twice now. We do have to fix that. Lemon takes down Cyan 2-0. Coffee takes down his opponent. Kingslayer takes down his opponents. And Jeshi takes down his opponents as well. So Team Old Man, they do become this season's StarCraft 2 Community Team League champions. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Team Old Man. They might be old, but they still got it here. They still got it. Again, I would say that the biggest contenders against them would have been PCEC and Starlight Twinkle, but they knocked each other out, and they had a very close series versus PCEC. I would say that Super Kitty and Elpis were a little bit more elevated by individual players, by certain key ace players, and they weren't quite able to bring it all together here in the finals. For example, Lemon did well for himself. He 2-0'd Cyan. That's a big win. But we needed this to be a team effort here, and the other members did struggle. I see Oriana, I see Nanami Chiaki. I was saying Nanami Chiaki would have had a good shot as well, but alas, this struggle here in the grand finals. GG, well played. With that, we are going to be going on a short break. Here, and when we come back, we'll have our upcoming regional and show matches. We'll see you soon in a couple of moments. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, do apologize for that break, but I did just need a moment to catch my breath a little bit here. As we do continue the rest of the results here for the week. For the week of here, the PondCast 103. Up next, we just wrapped up the Team League. Now we're going to be jumping into the Rookie Warpgate Invitational for the month of July. Here we do have a bunch of players, a bunch of amateur players that are on Team Rookie Warpgate. This is organized by Pioneer. Here we had Momo, we had Pioneer himself, of course, we BXCN, we have Bookun as well, so a couple of players we're familiar with, a couple of others that are, again, more amateur, so a couple more amateur players, and they did play their kind of like seeding matches first, and now we do have Code and Codes. So we split up the players here. Again, Code, bunch of players that I don't really know, not really too familiar with. When it comes to Codes, we just see Joseph, Pioneer, Maplefield, Drink, Momo, Wonder of You, and Bookun. Coming into this event, I'm leaning towards a Pioneer versus Drink finals, and I lean towards Drink. Like, I feel like Drink, he's the more notable player here amongst all these players, and he's looking to claim the win. We'll see if Pioneer or anyone else can stop him. Again, this is more of an in-house Rookie Warpgate tournament. More in-house, and even when it comes to Rookie Warpgate players, this is more of like the amateur players there on the team. So wish them all the best. Wish them the best. Up next, we do have the Legacy Weekly Japan. I'm ready for some boba, some tapioca, but not this week, as tapioca is nowhere to be found. Instead, Sayark, the old school veteran himself. Sayark, he takes down Noah Shirayuki, takes down Jacko SC2, and takes down Crimson 2-0 in the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Sayark. He does claim the win. Does take the 2-0 over Crimson. In the absence of Tapioca, Sayark does rise up. GG. GG, well played. With that, that leads us into our show matches. Here for the week. First, we have the Bassus Big Brain Bouts, number 1, 2, 3. Oh, let's go. We do have our show match here. We have 3 matches in total. The first one was the fun one. We had Sam versus Rexter in a PvP. 2 players that I'm very unfamiliar with. Very, very unfamiliar, but Rexter does take down Sam 3-1.
Rexter is one of the active Wikipedia contributors. That's how I will introduce him.
What about Sam?
I have no idea who Sam is.
So again, Rexter takes on Sam 3-1. So a big win here for Rexter in the PvP. Congratulations. We then have the good one, Soul Spirit versus Goblin. This feels like a lopsided match, I'm not going to lie. But we did take note of Soul Spirit returning to the game recently. I'll be honest, I feel like Arrow Fire would have been a better fit here. Like, I'm thinking of a player that is quite young, that was once like an up-and-comer, that then retired for a couple of years and recently came back. Like, to fit that mold, I think of like Exo Striker, Arrow Fire. I think of Shadown, maybe even. I know Shadown, he also recently returned for the Underdog tournaments. Maybe they wanted to avoid like French versus French. But yeah, I feel like they would have been like I'm thinking Shadown, I'm thinking Arrow Fire, just because Goblin is a lot more active. He's a lot more active in comparison. So I'm impressed that Soul Spirit took a game, but yeah, Goblin was coming in as a heavy favorite here for sure. So Goblin does take down Soul Spirit 3-1. But again, cool to see Soul Spirit return. We did mention this last week, I think it was. I think last week was the first time we saw him play in quite some time. To take note of that. Good to see that trend continue. Then we had the Bassus one. We had Trigger versus Bunny, and Trigger takes down Bunny 3-0. Trigger's been looking very good in PvT as of late. We were giving Trigger a lot of praise a couple of weeks ago when we were casting him during the ISSL qualifiers, because Trigger, he was one of the first Protoss players to adopt the mass gateway no warp gate style, which now is becoming more trendy and popular. But Trigger, he was one of the pioneers of that style in the early days of the new patch in said ISSL qualifiers. So again, with that, he's been looking very terrifying, and he does take down Bunny 3-0. Big win for Trigger. GG. GG, well played. That leads us into the Inu battles. Inu battles number 18. If you remember, this was actually clashing with our Tuna Cup. Tuna Cup and Inu battles, they ended up clashing, unfortunately, but that is why this week's Tuna Cup did not have Björn or Hero, for example. They were otherwise busy and preoccupied with Inu battles, as they did face off. Here in this relatively regular event. I mean, the Inu show matches have become a little bit more regular as of late, mixing up the formats a little bit here. It was a 4-play invitational. We had Cure, Hero, Rogue, and Beyond. Cure takes on Hero 3-1, Rogue takes on Beyond 3-2, and then we had the grand finals here. Rogue takes on Cure 3-2 in those finals. Again, both Cure and Beyond, they did both go all the way to the ace match against Rogue. It shows that our Terran players have been getting a little bit more accustomed to TVZ over the past week. And it's been hyper aggressive, hyper aggressive here from Terran players, and Rogue still comes out on top, but in a much closer score. So congratulations here to Rogue. That then leads us here into the OSC Elite Rising Star Tournament. We did cover day 2 of the event, and we can see the bracket slowly forming here. We have Jin Machine. It takes down Minizer UA 2-0. He's waiting for the winner of UD Soldier and Jumi. Moja takes down Shameless and Sebestus as well. Moja's been popping off here in this patch. Takes him down, waiting for the winner of Art and Fiant as well. So again, the upper bracket has been progressing. From my understanding, I believe Dave Testa is going to be casting day 3. We casted day 1 and day 2. Dave is going to be covering day 3, and we should be there to cover day 4 in a week's time. But again, this is for the rising talent in StarCraft, for the up-and-coming players, as they do duke it out on a seasonal basis. What's crazy about this event is that the reigning champion is Shameless, and Shameless is already in the lower bracket, as he went down to Moja earlier in the tournament. So it's cool to see. It's cool to see the kind of hierarchy be shaken up the way that it is. Up next, we did have this week's OC King of the Hill, OC number 256. Very long-standing here, King of the Hill style formats. Again, we did have, I believe, Percival coming on as the reigning King of the Hill. Was it Percival or Beyond? Let me just double check. Last week it was Percival, yes. So he's the reigning King of the Hill. He's the starting player. He takes down Honmono 1-0, and then Cham El Chamaco. He shows up for the first time in quite some time. Like Cham, he has not really been active this patch. Like he was active 2 months ago in the Big Sur Cups. But Cham has taken some time off. Here he takes down Percival 1-0, takes down Nickrack 1-0, and who stops Cham? Terran Mixu. Oh my god. Mixu, he off races as Terran. He takes down Cham 1-0. That's a big win for Mixu, by the way. Then he takes down Cristiano with his Zerg before falling to Cure. And Cure, I would expect to go on a deep run here, but Cure, he takes down Mixu, takes down Inexorable, takes down Azura. Beyond does stop Cure in his tracks before falling to Arrow Fire immediately. I just mentioned his name earlier in regards to featuring him in a Bassus Showdown or Bassus Big Man Bouts. I still stand by that. Arrow Fire, he takes down Beyond 1-0, big win for him. Takes down Max as well. Look at him go. Look at this zoomer zoom, papi. Oh my god. Takes down Beyond, takes down Max Pax. Those are massive wins. He does eventually fall to Cristiano. This goes in line with what we just mentioned. Remember, we were specifically discussing Cristiano and how he's been excelling in PvP, how he defeated Zaun previously. Here you can see him take down Arcfire as well. Does fall in ZVP though. Fiant does bring down Cristiano. Fiant takes down UD Soldier, and Fiant takes down Inexorable. Out of all players that competed tonight, with Kira, with Beyond, with Arcfire, with Max Pax, with Percival, it is Fiant. Fiant, he is the reigning King of the Hill. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Fiant for becoming this week's King of the Hill. We saw some big win streaks here by players like Cham, by players like Cure as well. But Fiant is that final King of the Hill. GG. GG, well played. That leads us into this week's Open Cups. Now, up first, we do have the Kung Fu Cup. Now, technically, this is last week's Kung Fu Cup, but if you remember, we concluded the PondCast as Kung Fu Cup was still ongoing. It's going to be the same this week as well, as Kung Fu Cup, I believe, is about to start or has started as we're covering the podcast. So last week's Kung Fu Cup here, we had Shin. Shin, he takes down Hero 2-0, takes down Showtime 2-0, and then eventually takes down, Cure 3-0. Shin, he just blazes his way through everyone, except for Zaun. Zaun does make him bleed, but Shin looking dominant here. I should also give credit to Cure. Cure takes down Rogue, and Cure also defeated Clem. We spoke about Clem's TVT previously when going over some of his previous matches. Here you can see Cure take down Clem 2-1. Does bring him down. But Shin is going to be our overall champion. Other notable results here that we've been seeing more and more frequently is Percival. Do you see what I see? Percival, he takes down Solar 2-1. Big win for Percival, and takes a map off of Rogue. Percival, on a much more regular basis, has been threatening Solar, Rogue, and Shin. Percival's TVZ has been improving, for sure. Has been improving. Meanwhile, another notable result here, Shidown. Shidown did take a map off of Percival. Shidown is very part-time. He's a part-time player nowadays, so to see Shidown take it to Percival, considering his current state of play, is also quite impressive. For sure. And also Rex took a map off of Hero. Este Rex, papi. Crazy win there. Up next, we do have the Vespine Cup. So again, congratulations to Shin for winning last week's Kung Fu Cup. This week's Vespine Cup number 2. It's looking like this is becoming more of a weekly tournament. I say that. It was on the 11th and then the 25th. So far, it's been every 2 weeks. There's only been 2. So whether this turns into a bi-weekly or how often this event is going to occur, it's hard to say. It's hard to say exactly. Last Vespine Cup, Bjorn did become our champion. He did blaze his way through all the competition. Here is quite similar, where Bjorn takes down Nickrak 2-0, Bjorn takes down Cristiano 3-1, and then we have a back and forth finals. Bjorn takes down Cristiano 3-2 in the grand finals. Went all the way to the ace match. Again, not bad play here by Cristiano. Sure, he doesn't take down Bjorn, but he did take a lot of maps off of him. And I also just realized there's a lot of best of fives. What the hell? This is where I would definitely give a suggestion here to Death. I'm assuming that Death is organizing this event. He of course is the big mind behind Vespine GG. But to have an event like this, I mean, it is a decent prize pool, but to have this many best of fives, this is very fatiguing for the players and for the casters involved as well. To have the upper bracket finals be a best of 5, for the lower bracket finals to be a best of 5, and for the grand finals to be a best of 5, and for the lower bracket semis to be a best of 3, like, this looks like a really long event. Like, the bracket looks pretty small, but because there are so many series, and because it's double elimination, you have to wait for certain matches to finish before starting the others. Like, this takes a long time to go through. This is like a 5 to 6 hour cast. Like, that's that's crazy. Yeah, so I would advise against having this many best of 5s in a tournament like this. I understand that Pegasus Cup has best of 5 semis, but they don't hold semis. That's the difference with Pegasus Cup. Pegasus Cup, they have best of 5 semifinals, but Pegasus Cup, they run the semis at the same time to alleviate some of that time and to, you know, make sure that players aren't waiting too long to wait for all these matches to finish up. So they compensate the length of their series with the fact that they run them at the same time. Again, for a format like this, you have to wait for one to finish before getting into the other. So yeah, that's my piece of feedback in regards to this tournament. But regardless, congratulations to Bjorn, that does claim the win over Cristiano. And shout out to Cristiano for coming in second place. Meanwhile, we had the KSL. We were making reference to this earlier when we were discussing Heroes PvZ, but this was the final Korean StarCraft League featuring Chickenman. This was Chickenman's farewell. We did not cover this live. We did cover this via replays, though. With his Hero takes down Homono 2-0, takes down Classic 2-0. We then had the otherwise lower bracket semis as well, or lower semis, with Solar and Bjorn, another mirror matchup. Very, very aggressive and very short games overall, with Hero taking down Classic and Solar over Rogue. High intensity. That led us into the grand finals here, where Hero, well, we've been seeing a lot of PvZ trending this way. We saw a lot of sky toss and a lot of early game aggression. Hero, he was going for early charge all-ins, he was mixing in Mass Phoenix at times, so has Classic been as well. So some quirky builds here and there. It's been a lot of trying to catch the Zerg player off guard, try to catch him with a cheeky timing, bring him down, or embrace sky toss. One or the other. And Hero does bring Solo down, 3-1. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Hero. He does claim the win here. As always, Hero, he's kind of like KSL is Hero's stomping ground. He's one of the most amount of KSLs out there. That trend continues here as well. Up next, we have the Planet Heroes SC2 Tour Season 2026, Cup number 6, actually. Okay, so the June edition. in July. So we have a July monthly. Again, there's a monthly tournament here featuring top players from around the world. So here we do have Percival. Percival takes on Lelix 2-0, takes on Shameless 3-0. Ooh, big win there for Percival. Likewise, Nickrat. Nickrat takes on Art 2-0, takes on Cristiano 3-2. And then we have the TVT finals. Percival takes on Nickrat 3-1. GG, well played. Congratulations to Nickrat for claiming the win. GG will play. That leads us into the Water TV Monday. That was this week's Monday Open Cup. Here we did have Rogue. Rogue takes on Classic 2-1, takes on Hero 2-0, and does face off against Percival. If you remember, I just spoke about Percival's TVZ, and here he took down Shin 2-1. It was a very intense series, and if you remember, we were being a little bit critical of Shin. Shin was getting ahead every game. Every game of that series, Shin would get ahead, and then he would lose his lead. Like, Shin would take some really bad fights, he'd take some bad trades, and that would slowly add up over time. And Percival, he was just so tenacious in that series. I was very impressed by Percival's play there, taking down Shin 2-1. Rogue was a lot more solid, a lot more on point. Rogue did take down Percival 3-1 in the grand finals, but regardless, Percival put on a really good showing in this tournament. GG. GG well played. Again, Percival, he's been getting better and better. Previously, he was more known for just his TVP, but now his TVZ and TVT has also leveled up as well. So he has been improving. That leads us into this week's Monday Night Weekly. Okay. This does follow a trend that I did notice, actually. Hold on. So very quickly, for the Woody TV Monday, there was no Clem. There was no Clem in the Water TV Monday. Max was there, but he got knocked down by Hero. We had an all-Korean semis. Here for the Monday Night Weekly, where we're expected to see more Europeans, Max he got knocked out by GG Machine early on, so big win there for GG Machine. Once again, no Clem. Clem did not play here in this week's Monday Night Weekly. Hero takes down Hormono, Hero takes down Beyond 2-0, Hero takes down G Machine 2-0 as well, and we have Hero in the grand finals. Beyond, he does make his way up, he takes down Max, takes down Fire, takes down G Machine, and then we get a best of 3 grand finals. This is the opposite of the other issue with Vespine GG, where I still believe that the finals for this tournament should be a best of 5, not a best of 3. Feels kind of weird for the finals to be a best of 3. I know it's double elimination, I know, but it's still weird. it's still, I know they have a reset match, I guess, but yeah, best of 3 finals. Hero takes down Beyond 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Hero. Up next, we have the Sparkling Tunic Cup. This is our weekly tournaments. This did take place merely yesterday, actually. So again, it was just yesterday. As we mentioned, this did clash with the Inu show match. So Beyond and Hero were otherwise preoccupied. They're regulars in our tournament. Instead, we had Shin and Classic. They were the top 2 seeds. Despite that, we had a very close series in the semi-finals. Percival versus Classic was very close, very clutch. I remember I was trying to catch Fire and Percival, but I missed them. Unfortunately, they did also go to the ace match, but Classic takes down Percival 2-1. It was very intense, very back and forth. I still remember Percival's game on Rorschach, where Percival, he was going for non-stop drop play. We saw a lot of Widowmine drops, a lot of aggression, and Classic had a very hard time keeping up. It was very, very intense. I do recommend it. That led into the grand final, Shin versus Classic, and that PVZ trend continues. We saw a lot of Void Ray play into Skytoss, and we saw a lot of all-ins at a Classic. Shin, for the most part, shut him down. He just shut down the aggression, shut down the quirky play. I remember Classic going like Glaive Adept into Mass Phoenix, which was really weird. We saw Shiro do something similar a couple of days ago. I think it might have been in the KSL finals, and sorry, it was actually an RSL, my apologies. It was an RSL Hero versus Solar. Classic did something very similar, and he got completely shut down. So Shin did shut Classic down, takes the win 3-1. Congratulations to Shin. That leads us into the Pixar Cup. Pixar Cup number 92. This was earlier this morning. It was a really short event. I think it was like a 2-hour cast. Really short games, really fast series. Hero takes down Beyond 3-0. We saw a lot of aggression, a lot of intensity between these 2 players, and the finals as well. I don't think we got a single macro game. Like, it was like proxy racks, proxy gateway, proxy racks, proxy. So it was non-stop proxies, 1 base all-ins, 2 base all-ins. Really short finals here. Hero takes down Clem at 3-1. I remember the final game was Hero went proxy gateway on BlackRock, and Clem went proxy racks. They proxied each other in that final game. Bit of a Spider-Man meme, and Hero did come out on top in the end. GG. GG well played. I do recommend it. It was a really fun series, but really short series. Just as a forewarning there. But Hero takes down Clem 3-1 to be this week's Pegasus Cup champion. GG well played. Hero does claim the win. Hero he was also off racing. You can see it here as well. He did off race against Hunter. We will have to fix that actually. So this is for Kuro to take note as well. Hero did play Zerg and Terran. He played Terran game 2, Zerg game 1. So yeah, there's only, and it's possible he did the same thing against Aeronautic, but against Hunter, Hero did play both races. Just as a heads up there. He was off racing, which he often does too. Meanwhile, again, Hero does claim the win over Clem to become this week's champion. Congratulations here to Hero. But again, a lot of open cups, a lot of open weeklies here. Really cool to see Vespine Cup return. I don't know if it's going to be a regular thing or not. It's hard to say at the moment. Likewise, I feel like it's been a while since we've seen a Platinum Heroes event, so great to see that return as well. Great to see the return. Otherwise, if you want to play in some of these tournaments yourself, in like a Pegasus Cup, Tuna Cup, Warty Monday, qualifiers as well, amateur tournaments, it is all on the tournament sign-up list. Exclamation mark, sign-up list in the chat to get a link to the page. We do have the Patches Patch Clash, we have the Galaxy Open Cup, Magic Up Masters, Pigfest qualifiers as well, and many, many more. So plenty of events are all available here on the sign-up list. Likewise, you can also support us via Patreon. Our Patreon does fund our tournaments on a regular basis. It funds the Sparkling Tuna Cup, the Master Swan Open, and the Sea Duckling Open as well, all funded via Patreon. So again, you can almost grow our tournaments if you wish, or again, do check out those sign-up lists as well if you want to take part in the scene, in the community. Otherwise, that is us just wrapping everything up here this week. Again, Kung Fu Cup is currently live, is currently ongoing. We'll be going over the results of this Kung Fu Cup next week, just as a heads up. Likewise, when it comes to our next broadcast, we are going to be live tomorrow with Kung Fu Cup with the replays. So we're going to be live tomorrow with Kung Fu Cup over the 31st and 1st of August. So over the weekend, we're going to be covering the Crank Gathers replays. So we're going to be covering the finale, the grand finals, of course, of the Crank Gathers StarCraft Evolution Tournament. And of course, the ISSL playoffs continue over the weekend. We'll be all over that as well. So plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft. We're finally catching up with kind of like replays and matches that we otherwise did that did kind of fall by the wayside. We're finally going to be catching up with ISSL Masters. I know Kura's she's been waiting for that one. ISSL Masters, we're going to be catching up with that.
No, listen, we need to move ISSL Masters like another month. Okay.
I think we're like 2 months behind on that.
Yeah,
one. So
yeah,
we will eventually.
I'm pretty sure there are some things popping up on the calendar right now. We need to move SEO Master like another month.
True.
We're casting in December.
Finally, we should be able to cover SEL Masters and also the SEL Ladder Invitational. We've been putting it off just because of Crank Gathers. We've been focusing on Crank Gathers, then we can focus on SEL, on the Masters, and on the Ladder Invitational as well. So we can finally catch up with all the SC Evo content before getting into all the regular events and regular content and regular casting. We'll get there. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, everyone, again. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some Kung Fu Cup or over the weekend for some Crank Gathers content. Otherwise, you can follow myself and Kuro. We do stream on our respective channels every now and then. We've been very busy with StarCraft as of late, so we've been missing out on some Final Fantasy streams. It's a bit of a shame, but we've just been very, very busy as of late, and I've been a little bit sick and unwell as well last week. With a bit of a strained voice, but we should be able to get back into regularly streaming Final Fantasy starting in the next couple of weeks. When's that next Final Fantasy stream? On the 14th. Maybe.
I was gonna say.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know about August, you know?
It's looking like a lean month. What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, it's a lean month. Pigfest just wasn't. By the way, did you know that Pigfest is now clashing with Tuna and we have to like go through the entire calendar?
True.
But anyway, there is potentially a chance of Divinity this weekend, so hey. Maybe.
Maybe.
Potentially.
We'll do our best. Likewise, if you want to check out some of our other contents, we actually just got got back into covering the Bad Batch on our own personal channel as well. We've been reviewing some of the other Star Wars shows out there, just for fun, just whenever we have some downtime. So we've been covering Bad Batch. It's been a lot of fun. Do recommend it. Do recommend it if you're interested in our thoughts on some of those shows. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time for some more StarCraft. See you then.